Hey guys, how you doing? Haven't been on a live for a little while. I've been taking a bit of a break. I have to say I got pretty burned out. I was working all the time and just not taking time to be, which was basically an example of me not taking my own advice that I give to other people all the time about you've got to have balance, you've got to find time to be present. And I was so caught up in the grind of everything that I wasn't doing that for myself. So I took a bit of a break, and I have to say it has been absolutely, totally what I needed to do, and it also helped me to get some clarity about a few things. So hi. What I want to talk about to you today is something that the universe has been kicking my butt on over the last couple of weeks, and it's also a topic that I've found has come up repeatedly when I've been talking to friends and other people I meet randomly, people I care about. It's just been like this repeating theme of how we have this real desire to, hey Dan, how we have this real desire to be seen, which is a really fundamental human need, I believe. But we also resist that because we have an unwillingness to show ourselves. So we want to be seen for who we are, for what we create, for what we can bring to the world. But often we also have an unwillingness to be seen. So we kind of fight against ourselves. And I want to give you a couple of examples about this. And as I said, this has totally been coming up for me big time in the very recent past. So if you're in this situation, I hear you, honey, and I'm with you. So let me give you a couple of examples. For example, if you want to be in relationship with somebody, if you want to have love in your life and you want to be with someone, but in your lifetime you have gone out there and shown yourself and your fullest, and how, put yourself in the position of showing your love to somebody, and they have shot you down. Say you've been rejected, and it could have been a family member who did that, it could have been a really close friend who did that, a teacher who you really loved and respected, a lover, whoever that person was. Like you wanted them to see you in the fullness of you, and when you showed yourself to them, they rejected you, annihilated you. And maybe it only happened once, or maybe it happened time and time and time again. And over time, even though you still desperately wanted love and you still desperately want to be seen by someone else in that kind of relationship, you might be going out there and really wanting that, but because there's this underlying theme that you don't really want to show yourself, because if you show yourself you're going to get rejected because that's been your experience before, then we create this situation for ourselves where on one hand we desperately want something, and on the other hand we're actually white-anting our own progress. So that's one example of how this stuff can show up in our lives. Another example is I was talking to a girlfriend of mine the other day, and she loves to write poetry, and but she was saying to me that for a long time she wasn't taking it seriously, and she thought like it was a waste of time, but it was really showing, it was something that she so wanted to express. But there was this underlying thing of judgment there, that if she put it out there and showed it, then maybe it wasn't as serious, as her other writing could be. And so there's this fight happening between wanting to express yourself as a creative person, and this is something that I think all creatives struggle with, including me, wanting to express yourself as a creative person, but also being really fearful that if you show that part of yourself to the world, you're going to be rejected or judged or found to be not good enough. You may even feel that it's not good enough, that you're not good enough in all of that equation. And this is something that we do to ourselves, right? Because of the previous experiences that we've had. And those experiences are really valid. They're so valid. And the last example I want to give you is another conversation I had was with an entrepreneur I know who's brilliant, and she's wanting to put herself out there in a particular way, but she's feeling like she's not good enough and no one will take her seriously. So she really wants to show this part of herself to the world and engage on this particular subject that she feels so passionate about. But she is also experiencing this real unwillingness to show herself. So she wants to be seen for this one thing, but she doesn't want to show herself. And that showing of yourself can be, it's just letting people know what you do as a business person. It could be talking about what you do. It could be doing a video like this on Facebook. However that shows up, it's just another example of that pattern, right? But how you want to be seen for who you are and the fullest expression of you. But we have this underlying unwillingness to be seen, and therefore we don't show ourselves. So I want to be seen, but I don't want to show myself. And so where does that leave us? Well, I can tell you where that has left me in the past. Nowhere. And the really interesting thing is, in some instances, I wasn't even aware that I was doing it, because we get so caught up in these stories that we've told ourselves about our previous experiences that we forget that we can't let them define who we are going forward. Because if we do allow them to define who we are going ahead, then we're going to keep repeating that same stuff, and we don't want to repeat it, you know. So if you've been rejected before in love, time and time again, if you believe that that is going to happen to you at some core level, and if you therefore have an unwillingness to put yourself out there, and you have a fear of being vulnerable, which is what all of this is about, so that fear, you know, and that unwillingness to really show yourself in the fullness of who you are will actually prevent you from being seen and actually achieving the very thing you want. The same if you're a creative person. Just because someone once told you that your work was crap, it doesn't mean that it was true. It might just be that they weren't in alignment with your work. It could just be that you needed to do some more growing. It could be that particular piece wasn't meant to be completed. Whatever it was, we can't let that story stop us from going on and creating more of the stuff that we feel called to create. And the same thing in business, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, just because you maybe have been told in the past about what you can't do and what you can't achieve and what's realistic and what's not, and you've taken that stuff on as your own story, you can't keep taking that on, because if you do, you will never fully show yourself, and then you will never be seen, the amazing human being that you are. And then you'll never be able to bring your gifts, those things that only you can do, your soul's mission, your path, your purpose, however you choose to describe it, you will never be able to live that fully, because you'll have this fear of being vulnerable sitting under it, and undermining your efforts to actually get what you really want. Now, I am going to admit to you really openly that this stuff is really tough. And when you start to see it in your life, it's really confronting, because you start to see how you have walled yourself in. You start to see how you have done that to you. And yeah, as I said, it's a product of your experiences. But the really interesting thing is we don't even realize that we've done it. We don't even realize that we've cut ourselves off. And then you have to look at it And you have to be really honest with yourself and go, okay, I can see that I'm doing that. So now I have to do something differently, and shit, that's fucking scary. It's terrifying. Vulnerability is terrifying. Being open as the fullest expression of you can feel terrifying. Because what if you get shot down, right? Because it happened before, so why wouldn't it happen now? Why wouldn't someone tell you that your creative work is crap, your writing is crap, your art is crap, that your business product is crap, that nobody wants it, or that person that you have feelings for says, nah, I'm not interested, you suck. You know? And the thing is that they might. And that will be tough to take. But if you don't take the steps to be vulnerable and put yourself out there, then you are going to stay precisely where you are. And that's going to suck more. Because then you're going to be disconnected and you're going to feel like, why am I never actually getting what I really want? Why am I never really achieving what my soul is calling me to do? Why am I not getting my stuff out there? Why am I not having the relationships that I want to have when I desperately want them? Why am I not being seen for who I am and recognized for that? This is so tough. Like, it's just, this can be gut-wrenchingly tough to work through. And I also want to just put a caveat over this. When I say, you know, going out there and putting yourself out there and being vulnerable and not letting those past stories and past experiences stop you from doing that, I'm not saying go out there without boundaries. Boundaries are super, super important. And you need to have them. So you can be vulnerable, but within boundaries that you decide. You decide what they are. So if you want to go and talk to someone and get advice and feedback about your creative work, so you're a writer or you're an artist or a musician or a painter or whatever it is you are, if you want to go and get feedback about that and you want to put yourself out there and think, you know, this is what I've created, then choose wisely who you seek that information from. Choose wisely who you make yourself vulnerable to. So go and choose somebody who is in alignment with where you want to go and what you're trying to do. And they may still give you feedback that's, you know, constructive, but that'll be okay because they still get it. Don't go and take your work to somebody who is not in alignment with who you are and doesn't get it. Hey, Kaji. Don't do that to yourself because that's never going to work for you. Hey, Monica, how are you, honey? And if you're an entrepreneur and you've got a new product that you're trying to get off the ground or a service that you're wanting to do, don't go and seek advice about that from somebody who just doesn't get what you're trying to do. Because you're more likely to get shot down. Go and see someone who's going to get it. Maybe it's someone who's a bit ahead of you in the game or just can bring a real creative perspective and give you some tips on how to move forward. So these are the boundaries that I'm talking about, right? And if, when it comes to matters of the heart, which can be very, very personal, obviously, when you're interacting with people, you need to set boundaries around that. So be vulnerable. But do it in a way that has your boundaries clearly defined. And if people step over them, you need to go, hey, that's a boundary for me. Please step back over the line. And then you hold that. There's a line in that movie, Love Actually, where one of the characters says, let's go out there and get the shit kicked out of us by love, right? So I guess what I'm saying is take that approach in going out there and being seen in your life, but do it with boundaries. So go out there and know that things may not always work out the way you would like them to in your business, your personal life, creative life, whatever it is. but it's the act of you being willing to put yourself out there fully in the first place that is going to make all the difference to you actually being seen for who you are. Because you have to show yourself first in order to be seen. Okay? I hope this was helpful for you. Like I said, this isn't easy, and it's certainly been coming up a lot with friends lately, and it's been coming up a lot for me personally as well. It is tough, but you can do it. So until next time, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you are learning how to trust yourself more and more every day, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.